Welcome to Spoken Sins, where if you give us 15 minutes, we'll show you a creator's soul. I am Mr. Anderson, the voice of Written Sins, and today we have a returning guest that we are grateful to be joined by.
And I'm Ryan Palmer.
How you doing, Ryan? What's going on today? Why did you want to come on to the show today? I know you had specific points to being on the show to share some brand new news that you just got.
Yeah, actually, we have Bangor Comic and Toy Convention this year at the end of May. We were not originally planning on going. We got an opportunity to get a table last minute, and so we jumped on it. We love Bangor Comic and Toy Convention. This will be 3 in a row that Buffy and I have been to. We went to the first one as a guest, and last year we went as a vendor with a couple of writers from the studio, Daniel Horowitz and Alex Snee, and Paris Collins came with us as well. So we had a crowd last year and we had a great time, and we're looking to go again this year, May 26th to 28th, and they've got an amazing guest list this year. I'm super excited about going. I have some indie friends that I'm looking to meet up with. I want to talk with Ben Bishop and Joseph Schmalke. I met Joe at the first Bangor Comic and Toy Convention, so we're looking to go back, and I'd like to have some time to actually hang out with some of these guys, and Ryan Wing's going to be there. We also have Frank Fosco is going to be there, and Steve Levine, who worked on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the original comic series when it was indie. And James Obar is going to be there. He's the creator of The Crow.
Oh, very cool.
The comic series. Yeah, the comic series that they built the movie from, the live action with Brandon Lee, the late Brandon Lee. And Larry Hama is going to be there. And so I'm excited about all these comic creators and artists. They're going to be there. The reason why we're going is we want to showcase our preview book. And I have a copy of it right here. This is my handle copy. You might have seen it in some of the posts. Some of you have been following on CCS supporters, but we got this the showcase book as finished pages in it. We're going to have a shipment of those in limited supply available at the Bangor Comic and Toy Convention. So you'll be able to buy those and get a signature inside. And it's got preview pages from my creator-owned work, Hayward Saints 8 Federal Offensive Responders, which we're excited about. We're looking to launch a Kickstarter this summer for the title, but we have some preview pages that are finished and lettered up. I have an amazing creative team. I'm very fortunate to be able to have these guys with me. Joseph Arnold did the artwork for the interiors, and he inked the pages as well. And we have Alejandro Torretta, who's also from Cornerstone Creative Studios, who did the colors. I love that guy. His color choices are amazing. He did a beautiful job. And Ed Dukeshire is doing the letters. I met Duke online. I actually got my start at digital webbing. That's how I started over at Cornerstone Creative Studios. I found an ad. It's a funny story. Like, I was referred there early in my career when I was looking for advice from, it was Walt Flanagan of Comic Book Men, the AMC TV show. Like, back then when I published my novel, you could call the store and they would just pick up, and actually I had a conversation with him. He was the one that sent me to digital webbing. So like all of these things happened and fell in place, and then I just kind of fell like a Plinko chip, like where I'm at. So I ended up hitting Ed Dukeshire up. I had to replace a letter. There were circumstances that came up, and I asked him about it, and I thought it was like, what am I doing? Why am I asking this guy? But he accepted, and he liked the project, and we hit it off, and I like him. He's a great guy. But for those of more information, like for those of you that don't know who Ed Dukeshire is, he was an early pioneer in internet comic community networking. Like, he created digital webbing, which is this community where people could go and collaborate and find indie comic jobs. And so that was before we had Facebook and Twitter and all these things. It was very early in the internet's career. And so he also started a publisher under the same name, Digital Webbing, and he did a ton of work. If you go and look him up, he worked with some greats like the late Bernie Whiteson, who did Swamp Thing, and also worked with Stephen King on Creepshow Comics. Like, he showed me some stuff that he did with him, and there's some guys that got their start at digital webbing and are now working at Marvel as full-time artists. Like, so he's done a lot of work, and I'm fortunate to be able to work with him. So we have that, and we also have the novel that we're going to be bringing to the Bangor Convention. I have a copy of it here. We've got some cases of this. It's a 300-page novel with the origin story of the awesome angel that's going to be featured in the Hayward Saints 8 comic. This hero doesn't have the awesome angel mantle yet. He's Anvil Crin. He's this savage in a future time period. And the whole premise of the book is built around the human spirit. We wanted to take the human spirit and feature it in this, which is in this universe the strongest force in creation. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And the underworld realizes that demoralizing the human spirit and breaking the human spirit is the key to defeating mankind. And so the whole story is built around these heroes and being able to endure and having a strong spirit and being able to fight for us. So that's what the novel premise is. And we're taking that and going into the adaptation, which is Hayward Saints 8 Federal Offensive Responders. We take the whole group of angelic recruited heroes and send them back in time for a redo. They fail to prevent the apocalypse, and so they're sent back to this key time period, which is our time period, to fight for us again. And so they're recruited by the government and given a wing of this offensive unit to stop terrorism, and they end up fighting these supernatural threats that the demons are throwing at them. So it's going to be a lot of fun, I think, and we're looking to kickstart that this summer. And so we've been doing this campaign and doing these live interviews, and we've been doing these events. I'm doing some local events, and we're doing Bangor as part of the campaign to push towards that, and hopefully build some awareness and get people interested and get some people to back us. You'll be able to get some cool backer rewards as well if you participate in the Kickstarter. You know, it's hard to imagine now at this point where it's evolved, but there might be some people that don't know what Kickstarter is. They might think it's like panhandling. It's not legal panhandling. Like what it is you get rewards, and a percentage of what you pledge for that reward goes towards building the comic or the project itself. So you're basically getting something, either it's a physical comic book with the finished project. You can get like artwork. Sometimes it's t-shirts or items, but you'll get those, and then a percentage of what you pledge is going to go towards actually creating the comic book or whatever project it is. So that's what we're going to be looking to do. We're going to we're going to have t-shirts. We're going to be wearing our own shit at the Bangor Comic and Toy Convention, which is pretty cool. We don't have them available for the public, but we're going to be wearing them. I sent you an image file. Do you want to show the guys the t-shirt image that was finished?
Yeah, for some reason it's not popping up. Give me a second. Just tell us about it.
Cool. Oh, it's going to be cool. It's going to be the first t-shirt. We've got two. We're going to have variants for Hayward Saints 8. The first is, that's the image right there. This was done by my interior artist, Joseph Arnold. He rendered the whole thing. Usually he does pencil art and stuff, but he did this start to finish. This is going to be on the front of the t-shirt. We're going to have the targeted 8 on the sleeve, and it's going to have an inspirational quote from the comics on the back. We're also doing a variant of this for Mammoth Monk. It's going to have the logo of the Order of the Butterfly, and it's going to have an inspirational on the back about fear, which we're excited about. These are going to be available in the Kickstarter as well as backer rewards, but we managed to get a couple of copies silk screened up for the Bangor Convention show. So, and I'm happy with how this turned out. This here is the logo that's on the front of Ultra Ghost, is the leader of Hayward Saints 8 Federal Offensive Responders. The government makes him wear the nuclear symbol because he was irradiated while forging his weapons. And although it's not a lethal amount of radiation, he has to wear it as a safety regulation. And I think that making this is built from a handprint on the front with latex paint, and it's almost it's like a metal punk rock type of defiance. And in the comic, he mentions that the reason why he puts the ghost on the front is to give them something to actually if they're going to fear him, it should be for the right reasons. And at the beginning of the comic, you'll see, I don't want to reveal too much, but you'll see how he gets his ghostly powers. And so it's basically a mockery of the government regulations, and it's a symbol of what he is now. So it's going to be very cool.
Oh, it sounds fascinating. So you're going to be clear, is this going to be something the fans can actually pick up, or is this just something you guys are going to be wearing?
This is something we're going to be wearing. We had short notice. Usually I plan ahead. Like last year, we were about 6 months ahead planning for Bangor. And this year, we actually weren't even planning on going. Like finances were not there and stuff. But we got an opportunity for a table just this past weekend. So this is a brand new thing we're promoting, and we're preparing for. So getting the shirt silkscreen, like the artwork was just finished this past weekend. We were looking to have it ready for summer. So usually I'm ahead, but we actually weren't planning on going at first. And I was bummed about it. Like I saw this guest list and I wanted to go. There were so many, I wanted to try to work something out to go as just a fan, just to meet some of these guys, these great creators, and things were not lining up. And then somehow this past weekend, like a bunch of stuff just fell into place, like planets aligning kind of. And so we were happy for that and fortunate. And so we're going to get a chance to go. Another thing I wanted to talk about while we're on the subject is the Bangor Comic and Toy Convention itself. This is an amazing venue. Like we're lucky to have this in Maine. Christopher McMillan has done an amazing job putting the guest list together every year, and it's growing. Like it's actually at the point now where it's almost outgrowing the Cross Insurance Center venue. Like there was a ton of space there, and they were doing like Monster Jam the first couple of years too, as well, in the arena. And he's looking to get more space. Like this year, he ran out of space for the amount of people that were interested in going and running a table there. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's always good to see it grow. Being from New York, I watched New York Comic Con go from just a quarter of the Javits Center to literally one of the reasons they are now updating the Javits Center, because it can no longer be contained in the Javits Center. So I look forward to hearing how big that con gets in the future.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a big show. And another one is like MegaCon that a lot of guys that have their sights on this year is supposed to be great. I think Stan Lee's going to be there as well. But yeah, I mean, people love this kind of thing, and it kind of goes in line with why I'm doing comics. Like I think people love comic books and superheroes, and in particular because they love heroism. And the same kind of thing goes along with these cons, that people love popular culture. And these conventions just kind of bring them all together in this melting pot. Like it's hard to go to one of these shows when they're done correctly and not find something that you like, or that you're nostalgic about, or that you're excited about. And there's always a good mix. Like that's another thing about Chris too, as well, is that he's not just bringing in these big names. He's also bringing in some independents. He's bringing up in some new faces and artists and creators and toy vendors and comic book shop owners, and just a little bit of everything, so that you can go and get a good array of entertainment. There's going to be gaming this year.
This is the Stan Lee goodbye tour, as a matter of fact, this year.
Oh, it is. Yeah. I saw the post. It's gonna be his last appearance in Florida, I think.
Is MegaCon, that's it.
It's gonna be the same weekend that we're going to Bangor. I saw the dates. Like he's going to be in Florida. Well, that same weekend, May 26th to 28th, I think, is that's the Bangor date, and it's lined up with that. So, yeah.
Well, MegaCon is 4 days, so
it's 4 days.
It'll be running. Yeah, it's 4 days, so it starts that Thursday. But we will be at cons on the weekend. I will be at MegaCon personally. I'm not doing press for them. I'm just going as right now. I'm technically just going as a fan, but I know my wife is trying to bring Fetish Babies there to the actual event. We just got the book published from those who watch Spoken Sins. Fantastic thing. If you can actually watch your book get pressed or your comic book be printed, I suggest it to anyone. It's just an overwhelming moment of your life where you're like, oh my God, that's mine. And it's coming off the presses.
I know, and you get to watch it like come together, all your hard work. It's really just like the finale, really. It's like the icing on the cake. You get to see that finished product come together. And it takes a lot of work to put one of these books together. If you don't, I mean, some people think that a person can create a book and like there's no way I could have done this myself. Like the book that I created, you have to have a team of people to put one of these things together. And it's a collaborative art form. And that's not, you know, that's easy to say, but not everybody works well with people. 1 second, I got to stop the phone. Hold on.
Good. While he's gone, I'm just going to fill the air by saying that
all right, cool.
Like you were saying while you were gone, the collaborative process is definitely something that's interesting, because I know artists who are actual writers. They won't draw their own written stories because they don't want to interfere with it. They want someone else to have a take on it. They don't want it to be too much of their own. But like you were saying, it's a lot. It's an overwhelming process bringing in a book.
Yeah, no, totally. Like the time that it takes as well. Like there are some guys that have the talents to do it themselves. I'm not saying it's impossible, but like if you were working at a studio and looking to do like monthly releases, to try to do all of those jobs, to write it, draw it, and then ink over it, and then color it, letter it, and then go to publishing. I mean, it is tight on time to be able to do that yourself and have monthly, you know, people who do that themselves maybe have a biannual issue that they do. Like they end up doing one like every few months, even the fastest guys that are able to do all of those jobs, you're talking about a 22 to 24 page book to be able to do that. So having a team that can work together, you can make those kind of deadlines. And so it takes 4 or 5 people just to create the file to make the book. And then, you know, you're trying to get it printed off and go to shows and get it in people's hands so they can read it. There's just a ton of jobs to do. That's another thing too. When you're independent, when you're working for one of those bigger houses, like you're just, you know, you have guys in place to promote it and to distribute it and to do all of those things. But when you're creating as an independent, there's a bunch of jobs that need to be picked up. Like I end up doing things I'm not qualified for all the time. You just have to jump in and try to get it done. But that's what it is. It's a collaborative art form. You work together, and there's people who can create, who are talented, and then you have people that like do that and don't work well with other people, or you get like a team together and there's like a personality clash or something, and people are not working well together. Like there's so much stuff that can go wrong with it. So being able to get to that end point with your team and have everybody working well, meshing well together, and meshing well together with personalities and with you know, with the work itself meshing well together. You know, getting styles that work well together. Like there's so much, but it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, unfortunately, just because we do indie comics doesn't mean that we're all the same person and we all get along very easily. There are conflicts, you know. There is, just like any business. I mean, anyone who goes to work has to deal with coworkers that at times they don't always get along with. But the one thing with comic book creating is, and I think you'll agree with me on this, is you kind of got to like the guys you're working with, or it's gonna show in the work in the end of the day. So it's a little different, I think, with comic book creating.
It can totally affect it depending on what the relationship is. If there's an argument between the creator, the person who owns the project, and one of the team members or something, sometimes you have to replace members if they're not interested in continuing. You know, a lot of stuff. There's a lot of guys though that can take that out of the equation and be professional as well. Like even if you have a difference of opinion, or you have you know, you have a personality clash, like I said, you can still be professional and give good work regardless of that. You know, some people don't do that so well. Some people let it affect them, you know. So there are a lot of things like that that can go wrong and can delay and can stop up your work. And so, or even none of that, you know, all of that aside, like you can have emergencies, you can have family emergencies, you can have things just like a job, like you said, like people have time, or people have work, or people have family, and people have things. And so to get an entire team to come together and get this finished product, like it's indie, it's a lot of work, you know, especially when you're starting out the finances. Like,
oh yeah, definitely. You got to give credit to the indie creators too. A lot of indie creators aren't, you know, just doing indie comic books. They have a regular day job. They're out doing 40 hours doing that. So This is something they're doing on the side. So like you said, there are things that pop up, there are things that come up, and they definitely get in the way of creativity. So for all the fans watching it, I really listening and watching right now, I want you to understand how much this really takes to go into creating a comic book. We're all putting a lot of ourselves on the line. We're all putting a lot of who we are on the line. So it, like Ryan's saying, it takes a lot, man. Until you do it, you have no idea how hard it is. You just pick up the comic book and you're like, this can't be that hard to make. It is increasingly hard to make, especially in the digital age, being able to promote it. And there's so much competition. It's not easy. So always give credit to anyone who makes a comic book, because that's an accomplishment on its own.
In addition to that as well, when we're talking about the difference between indie and people who are established and have money to pay, in addition to paying your teams, if you have money, to be able to produce these things at the level that you want to, you go to the printing aspect of it and the distribution aspect of it. The cost of shipping and the cost of printing these books is also another hurdle that people have to get over, because generally these independent creators are not able to afford large print runs, but the system is set up to give you a discount based on how many you order. So the larger the print run, the cheaper the individual comic's going to be, which translates to you're going to make more money per copy, or also that you can drive the price, the cover price down. You know what I mean? But not being starting out after you paid for your team to do the work that they need to do, and you're trying to print this off, and you get small print runs. The margin of profit is not. There's not much left. There's not much meat left on the bone after that. Like, just the way that it's set up, like it's very hard to dig up from nothing and try to do these books and get them in people's hands. Like, very minimal. Like, we're doing a small print run of these books. The profit is not there. Like, the money we're going to spend to go down there and everything is going to be, it's not even going to be even close. Like, we're basically doing it because we love it. We want to get it in people's hands, give them an opportunity to get a signature on it in the early stages. Like, and we're excited about it. So we're willing to do that. We would be through the roof if we could at least break even, like, on everything that we're going to be doing, just because then we haven't lost any money that we need for our family, and we're able to get it in people's hands so they can read it and enjoy it and maybe get a look at these new heroes. So that's what we're doing it for. Yeah, you gotta have a lot of heart to do it.
Yeah, indie comic book creators are always talking about that. It's about making the money for the table back. It's about, and people don't realize that, and new creators watching this and new artists who came in who expect to show up, and I see it all the time because I run Written Sins, and a lot of people don't know this, because my name has gotten somewhat more familiar in the indie community. Everyone somehow thinks I'm brand new, but I've been doing this 13 years. So that's a lot of time of studying and learning about it. And I can tell you, you're absolutely right. Indie comics isn't easy to make money. It's not meant to be easy. And that's what is good about Kickstarters. It helps creators like you be able to afford the larger run prints. And I can tell you from experience, dealing with printers, especially, I don't know about for you, but for me and Alyssa, my co-creator and wife of Fetish Babies, it became increasingly important to have it printed in America. And there's this idea that printing in America is a negative thing. You'll never be able to make it affordable. You'll never get as good a quality. And I disagree. And I was going to do something with another publisher. The thing fell through. I'm not going to talk negatively about them. I think it was just a bad moment for them. We just couldn't make a connection. So I had to move on, and we scrambled. And then we wound up actually sending our Kickstarter rewards from Amazon, because we had made a deal with Amazon and we just didn't want to be late. So we wound up eating the cost of that to make sure all of our backers knew how important they were to us. But we found a local printer, and you know what really saved us money and made it affordable? We didn't pay for shipping because they were local. I went and picked it up with my wife in a minivan.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, little victories like that are very important when you're starting out, because saving that money on having to ship that, the heavier it is, the more comics you order, you get it cheaper, but then also it's heavier. That's what I'm talking about. Like, there's always a hurdle there. Like, you order more, okay, and you're getting them cheaper, but the shipping is going to be more because it's heavier. So you're going to be paying a little bit there. So it seems like everything's like that. It seems like every business there is that's trying to start out, there's someone out there who comes up with an idea to offer a service for that business, and they're getting a profit off of it. And then the shipping company is getting their pay wages and they're getting a profit off of it. And anything that you do, you have to ship or you have to pay workers, you know, like it just, and I understand it's business, it has to happen, but it seems like the biggest thing about comics and trying to get that to work is trying to get it to work and be in the plus so that you can afford to continue to do it. You
Oh
know,
yeah. Oh
that's the
yeah.
hardest point to get at, just to be able to get it available and make it something that people can read.
Oh yeah.
Is
And here's
there's a list of challenges, like it's just nonstop battle.
oh yeah, I completely agree. And here's a pro tip for all you guys out there. For like he was saying, when you order more, you think it gets cheaper per issue. But like he was talking about the printing cost of it getting cheaper, the shipping costs sometimes get so high that you actually will have to get a carrier to ship your books. And those carriers, because the weight is so heavy, become more expensive than UPS. So there's a lot that goes in behind the scenes of making these decisions. And I'm not saying it doesn't get cheaper, but it's, and Ryan will back me up on this, it's nerve-wracking to know where to make the right decisions at the right moments for your product, because it's
Yeah,
all about a
exactly.
long game.
And so then you want to do a Kickstarter like we're planning. And I've been fortunate enough to get some advice from Ed Dukeshire, and I've also been talking with David Lockwood, who works over at Obsidian Entertainment. They did Fallout New Vegas over there, and they just kickstarted Pillars of Eternity 2. I think they got like they were looking for like 1.5 million. I think they got like 4 million in their Kickstarter. So these guys have some experience with this process, and I've been lucky enough to be able to talk with them. But the same problems come into that as well. You go to Kickstarter and it's not going to be this magic wand that's going to give you your start. There's a ton of planning to do as well, and we're going to have to battle shipping to get it to all the backers. We're going to have to price out our backer rewards that we have planned, make sure that's all correct, and then finish the book, get that sent out to everybody. And there's also a cut that Kickstarter gets for their services and keeping the site alive so people can achieve their dreams, which, you know, all of these things are fees that people deserve, and it's just stuff, but they're just hurdles that you have to add in. I have to do my maths, like, and so I got to be on target with that. But I've been lucky enough to have these guys to give me a hand for this. Is going to be my first Kickstarter, so I've been backing in the community stuff that I like and getting physical copies to read, and I love the community. I've loved all the books that I've backed and received, and so we want to be a part of that. We want to do our own. So, and our studio is looking to do the same too. Cornerstone Creative Studios. We have a ton of titles lined up doing this shared universe. So the idea, like what that's all about, is that Hayward Saints 8 is my creator-owned. I plan to do this comic since I started the novel and published it in 2013. So I've been working on this for 4 years now myself, the content, and I've written 13 comic books that we have loaded up myself, 4 for Power Block, 4 for Kerr, and 3 for Hayward Saints 8. Kerr of the Nexus and Power Block are 2 titles I write for Cornerstone. And so I did those first, and now I'm doing my adaptation of my novel. So so we've got like 12 titles lined up, and we've got previews in this book that we're going to be selling at Bangor, so people can see the heroes. We've gotten a good response up until now too as well, so we're excited. We're fortunate to have that. Some of our loyal fans and the people that have given us feedback. We're also going to have prints too at the con, so we're going to have print images of the heroes for people to purchase. So we're excited about that. Yeah, so we've got all this stuff planned, a ton of stuff.
Now, I know you wanted to mention Joseph on the program today.
Yeah.
His link?
Yeah, I did. He has a new, Joseph's my interior pencil artist. He also did the Ultra Ghost image that you showed earlier for the t-shirts. He's a pencil artist primarily, but he's been working with Photoshop and doing some digital coloring and rendering as well. So he did the this t-shirt image from start to finish himself as well, and he's doing the t-shirts. He has a connection with a guy that's going to silk screen them, so we've been doing that. And that Patreon page that you showed is his new Patreon page. You can see artwork from Joseph Arnold, and if you want, you can support him. These are examples of some of the art that's his creator-owned, called Knack Moy. You're probably wondering why the martial arts. I mean, why not? Everybody loves martial arts, but this guy is not only he's a veteran. He served as a paratrooper in Afghanistan, and then he's also studying martial arts. He studies jujitsu, and he also studies Muay Thai, kickboxing, and he's an amateur fighter. Like, he had a fight. I had a post a few weeks back. He got silver medal at an amateur kickboxing tournament over in Colorado, and he has a fight coming up next weekend. So
yeah,
you can go to his Facebook page.
You can find that on Written Sins. We actually covered that.
Oh, you can. Yeah, there was a post about it. Yep. Yeah, he won that silver medal. He's got a new fight coming up this weekend. He has another match. So he's actually a kickboxer. Like, he draws, and then he goes out and punches people in the face for his training and his hobby. And so, yeah, so he's a dude. So support this guy. Go to his Patreon page. I mean, he's a great guy to work with too. Like, I love the guy. I love his creativity. Like, his artwork is fantastic. It's always on target. And if it's not, like, he's great to work with as well. And he's badass. Like, in real life and in our fictional world, and the drawing and all of it. So please go to his Patreon page if you get a chance, and at least check it out, and you'll have the opportunity to back him up. You can give like monthly recurring donations or a one-time and support an artist. He wants to draw full-time. And so we're looking to get him to that point as well and create work. Yeah, that's another point as well, is that if you get to a point where you can establish and you have income coming in, you're creating work for these guys that are professional artists. Like, try to make steady work for these guys to pay them to do books. So it's not just creating books and lining your pockets. I mean, everybody who's involved is benefiting from it. So that as well is a beautiful thing, to be able to do this kind of thing full time, be creative. It's a dream job.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think, I mean, I'm not sure, but I think I'm a little bit better in the fictional world than I am in the real world. I'm not sure yet, but
I'm much better at writing stories than being the story.
Yeah, being the story, I'm a complete bore. Like, you don't want to know anything about me. But in the fictional world, then I can fill it in with some fiction a little bit and jazz it up and make it something.
Oh, absolutely. And like Written Sins always says that we always talk about supporting vets. So for everyone who always talks about supporting a vet, here's a great artist you can work with and support him and get great art out of the deal. Because, I mean, I've seen the stuff that you've shown us on Patreon. He's a great artist.
Yeah, he's definitely talented. Wait until you see the Hayward Saints 8 pieces that he did. My team knocked it out. It's beautiful. They hit the mark right on, and he always does. And he works with me until we get it there. So he's great to work with. But that's him there, complete with battle damage. Check it out. He won silver, but in his second match, which he unfortunately lost on points, he ended up taking some battle damage there. He got a little bit of a brow split there in a scrap. So, and he was showing that with a smile. And that's how he does it. But he doesn't back down. He's tough in everything that he does, whether it's having the fortitude to finish his work in pages and books, or if it's the fortitude to go into a fight and kickbox with somebody, or if it's the fortitude to jump out of a plane and go fight for his country. Like, this guy does it. Like, he takes it with a smile and gets it done. So this is definitely a guy that you want to back up career-wise, or any way that you can. The Patreon page is a great way to do that. As well, backing us up by supporting us at the Bangor Comic and Toy Convention and purchasing, or becoming a pledge backer in the Kickstarter. When we do that this summer for Hayward Saints 8, you can support him, because he's going to be getting paid his page rate for that when we land. Our entire team is, and we want to do long-running series. So,
well, that sounds like you got a lot on your plate. You have a lot coming up, dude.
Yeah, and I have a family of 4 as well. Buffy and I are going to be running the table together, and she's my love. If you go to the supporter page real quick, I think I sent you the link, and we were doing some promotional stuff, and Buffy's been working with paint.net, where she's able to edit memes. Yeah, this was one that she did. She's very creative and she's smart. she learned this on the spot. Like she downloaded it this past weekend and then just started doing it. But she did some versions of popular memes, and there's me apparently as Pennywise. Her picture choices were fantastic for that. And then we've got this
comic thing.
Yeah, I laughed until my face hurt this weekend. I mean, she did all of these over the weekend. There's one more down there. I think she did a take on Logan as well. Yeah. So we wanted to do these she wanted to do these to promote the you know, our appearance in Bangor, and we love Bangor Comic and Toy Convention, but also this shows a little bit of her humor and creativity. Like, and I don't know what I would do without her. Like, I'm so happy that we're going to be able to do this at the end of the month, because she gives me a strength. Like, she's been with me the whole time through all of this, and she's been supportive, and we've taken it on the chin financially together. And she's put up money, you know, and backed me up through the publishing of my novel and pursuing the comics, as well as putting in time herself, taking the kids so that I can do these events. Sometimes it's not feasible for us to find a sitter or something, and she will, you know, her schedule is linked up with mine, and so I don't know what I would do without her. And obviously, as you can see, she's creative and she's got a little bit of a sense of humor there.
Well, I think that's a fantastic pairing, and I think that's the perfect way to end. Saying something nice about the wife, take the win before you say something wrong.
Exactly. Yeah, I know. That's the problem. My biggest problem, I think, is I just don't know when to shut up. Like, and she's not here to cut me off, so I'm worried.
No, that's fine, but let's draw it to an end right now, so we can get back to creating. We will have all the links from today's Spoken Sins put up as soon as this goes to Written Sins, so you'll be able to check everything out. Definitely looking forward to seeing some live shots from the Bangor Comic and Toy Con and seeing what you guys come up with over there. I'd like to thank Ryan for his time today and for being on the show. Do you have any closing comments to make to the watchers and sinners of Written Sins?
Yeah, I would like to say continue to support independent comics. Our culture is started in these independent projects that grow. By supporting these independent projects that you love, you have an opportunity to contribute to the future of entertainment. You know, whether we're able to get it to that point is all going to depend on our hard work and the support that we receive. And so by doing that, you have that opportunity to interact directly and choose. You don't have to accept what popular culture gives you. You have an opportunity to go out and choose what you like and support that, and give it a shot. So I'd like that to be my closing statement.
I love that. So with that, thank you for joining us, guys. We're signing off. We'll see you at the next Spoken Sins coming soon.